This Steve Jones Show podcast is now loading. The Steve Jones Show podcast is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Sunbury Motor Company, Purdy Insurance, and Brewers Outlet. Now from the Sunbury Motor Studio, here's Steve Jones.
Half hour brought to you by Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury. Go to purdyinsurance.com. Auto, home, life, business, boat, motorcycle, RV. Also, I've talked to Steve Engel about Medicare products. Yeah. Hey, we all have insurance needs. And they have the ability to handle them all and do everything they can to save you money. Okay? Because customer service means everything to them. At Purdy Insurance, Market Street in Sunbury, go to purdyinsurance.com. Well, it is draft day, and Kevin Costner is nowhere to be found. But the suit did his mock draft. He had T.J. Watt going to the Steelers. He worries me. Once again, this is your guy. So, Todd, does anything work in there right now, or just asking? I think he's trying to talk in the background. I think I can hear him, but
I am trying to talk.
I can't. No, I can't hear you.
I know.
Now I can hear you. I think.
I wasn't talking.
Well, there you go. Well, you're on strike?
I guess.
Wow. I work with such temperamental people. I was saying, does anything in there work?
Barely, I guess.
Well, we were able to get things working in here, so I guess that's where the payoff is.
We're a little hosed if they can't hear you, too.
Well, I'm talking about the phone part of it. You know, the phone part. Unfortunately, that part works here. They've taken a little bit to get it to work because it's new, but it works. There you go. Oh, I don't have a working mic. Oh. Then what are you speaking on?
Like, I'm getting like one notch screaming into it.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm not coming through on my own headphones.
That's not good.
It is not.
As he screams. No! No! I'm here! I'm here!
I swear. Now it's better.
Oh, there you go. See, it's getting better by the minute.
Yeah. Maybe it just needed to warm up.
Maybe it just needed to know that you were angry at it. Right? Some of the equipment in there was made in the old Soviet Union. All it understands is force. All right, so I've got to call Matt today. So what do you think he's going to rant about today?
I think he's excited for the draft.
Have any thoughts on what the Catrillo man's going to go nuts about today?
I would get. Ooh, I'm back. The draft.
Yeah, but why would he rant about that? It hasn't happened yet.
I'm sure there's an angle.
Is he worried that Josh Harris will outdraft him again? I'm just trying to poke the bear. You know that, right?
Yeah. The Quinion Mitchell one is they're still good with that with Quinion Mitchell and Cooper DeJean from last year.
Yeah. No, I know. I realize that. But then again, they got Jaden Daniels and closed the gap.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So we'll take a break. We'll hear from the wild man with the great wife who just really, for those kids, she's the beacon of light and hope.
I think anybody that listens to this program realizes that.
Oh, anybody let me let's go to the Suits house. Without the mother, there's no chance there for that kid. All right, we'll come back with more in a moment here on News Radio 1070 WKOK.
At Sunbury Motors, we're not just from America, we're for America. That's why we're proud to announce our employee pricing program with incredible savings on 255 new eligible Fords. Right now, save up to $6,797 on 25 2025 Ford Explorers, starting at under $40,000. Save up to $2,665 on 16 2025 Ford Mavericks, starting just under $28,000. And for those who need strength and power, save up to $10,541 on 60 2025 Ford F-150s, starting at under $48,000. These are more than vehicles. They represent American craftsmanship, strength, and pride. At Sunbury Motors, we're proud to be American-made, American-owned, and dedicated to helping you drive through 2025 with confidence. Sunbury Motors, American-made, American-owned, and coming alive in 2025.
So let's bring in the last fan of Aaron Judge. Kind of running out of him with each tantrum. The wild man himself, Matt Catrillo. Sir, welcome.
Boys, happy draft day.
Yes, happy draft day. It is. The Eagles will be drafting last. And the good news for the Eagles is that Mike Mamula is off the board.
Yes, that is correct. But I don't know. I'm really interested. I think we say this every year, but this is going to be a wildly unpredictable draft from many different angles, including the Eagles. And here's the big thing. I think if Dallas Goedert's going to go, he's going to go tonight. And if he makes it through the weekend, I think he's back as an Eagle. Now, as far as actually getting rid of him, I can go either way on that. I see where Howie Roseman is with this, but it also depends on who it's for as well, and what the trade compensation is if it were to get that far. But
I think
it should be very, very interesting tonight.
I think they're going to take an edge rusher in round one.
That's exactly what is on my wish list. I want an edge rusher, defensive tackle, or safety. Anyone, and it's a deep class. Any one of those that are falling to them at the bottom part, that's who I want. I'm pretty open with this draft.
Or they could trade Saquon Barkley back to the Giants and get Abdul Carter. No?
You saw those reports this week.
Bad move.
I just wanted to smack somebody.
All right. Does it bother you that it looks like Josh Harris is out drafting you?
Well, it depends on how you ask the question.
Todd, I told you I was going to poke the bear just to have some fun.
It's kind of hard to say from a football standpoint, but if you want to argue has he drafted better as a football guy than a basketball guy, well then, yeah, obviously it's drastically better, and it's irritating.
Wow, would they draft Daniels with the second overall pick last year?
Correct.
Yeah, so you're going to get a guy that's a really good player, normally at 2, unless you're the Bears. It's like yeah. So they draft last, which is a good sign because it means that they're the best team in football. But out of loyalty, you're going to dump Dallas Goedert. You already told Brandon Graham to take a hike. I mean, you guys, you're a loyalty group.
No, it's actually Howie Roseman learning from his mistakes from the first time the Eagles won the Super Bowl. As in, you know what? Sometimes you have to get rid of guys even though there's a sentimental factor. And Brandon Graham, to me, was the biggest hurdle because the more and more that went on, but we didn't hear anything about him maybe about retiring or trying to come back because he tore his Achilles again, or his rupture again. And then when he finally announced that he was retiring, I was like, good. And then I heard the reports afterwards that Howie talked him into retiring. Good. That's exactly what would have been the case, because if Brandon Graham had come back to waste a roster spot for a guy like they might draft tonight or others that they've gotten this offseason, that would have been I don't want to say a disaster, but it wouldn't have been a good move. It would have set them back a little bit. The Eagles still have to attack now with this championship window that they have.
You know what? That's a job that the Eagles should hire you for. I think you'd be great at telling somebody to get the heck out.
Well, I mean, it would have been hard on Brandon Graham's part, but, I mean, it is what it is. If it's time to move on, it's time to move on.
But you'd be great at that job.
Sign me up. I've already said it.
I mean, I can see you right now, Aaron Judge. Look, you're 34 now, pal. Pack.
He would have. Listen. He wouldn't be captain right now if I were the GM of the Yankees. He would have lost his captainship with the way he played in Game 5 last year.
Wow.
I said that after it happened. Oh yeah, wow. I would have pulled him from being captain. Absolutely.
Wow. So
he didn't play like it.
So is it true that you stripped Mark of his captaincy and you gave it to John Paul?
It's still too early to tell for them.
What about
But
Luke?
Mark's hitting the ball better than Aaron Judge did in the postseason last year in the backyard. I'm just saying.
It's a wiffle ball, you know.
Doesn't matter. Contact's contact. You gotta learn it from the basics.
So will you sit down and watch every pick of the draft tonight? Or will you wait till late to see when the Eagles finally get around to picking?
It's going to be a struggle, but I will be trying to watch every pick that I can tonight. I actually have Bucknell women's lacrosse tonight as well to start.
Oh, good.
I will have the draft, going on my phone as I'm doing the game, and then we'll catch up when we get home, and then we'll try to stay up late to see if the Eagles will make a move or not. I would love it if they trade up, because then I can go to bed after that, but I'll probably be up the route. I always say this every time. I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm going to be too tired. The adrenaline kicks in. I'll be watching with my Saquon Barkley Super Bowl jersey on. It'll be fine. It'll be a great time.
And who's Bucknell playing?
This is the regular season finale against Loyola.
Loyola, okay.
Yeah. It's not been a great year for the women or the men, but we'll see if they can finish off on a high note. This is actually my first time that I'm doing the PA for lacrosse this season. It's been fun. It's been a little bit different for me. I'm becoming more and more well versed in lacrosse, because obviously I do it for SECV8. So it's been good.
No, I think that's great. And Loyola, of course, a Baltimore-based team. Whew. That is not easy. How about that? Not easy at all. But all right. Any other complaints in life?
Well, I actually want to go to the other side of the state when it comes to tonight, Steve, with the Steelers. I've been talking to our friend Alex Gazora, Steelers Depot, and another friend of ours who's a big Steeler fan. And I just think the Steelers have really screwed themselves over at the quarterback position. Honestly, Omar Khan, to me, has done a absolutely horrendous job as general manager. I know he got DK Metcalf, but guess what? I mean, when the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh has gone as bad as it is, when you're relying on a nitwit like Aaron Rodgers to make a decision or not, and then here you are tonight kind of caught with your pants down with a terrible quarterback class, and now you're being tied to Shedeur Sanders. I mean, the Steelers are focusing on guys that are just not going to jive with how the organization works. It is an absolute mess, and I would say it's a borderline embarrassment of where the Steelers are right now in this spot at the quarterback position, because you had two guys to choose from that you could have brought back. Now, I don't know if Justin Fields would have been worth the money, but I still liked him over Russell Wilson. But even that, you still had a chance to get Russell Wilson because only the New York Giants were the only other suitor, and that's where he went. And then you're focused on Aaron Rodgers? Listen, I know the guy played a little bit better last year, but you still know what you're getting with him. Can you honestly tell me that Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin would get together for a full season? I'm surprised that meeting lasted 6 hours when they met. We talk about two polar opposite guys, and you tell me that you're going to wait for him to maybe be the quarterback for you guys? I mean, that is just atrocious. And just to be where they are right now, if they were to draft a guy like Shedeur Sanders tonight, like I'm seeing in some of these mock drafts, I mean, that would just continue to set this franchise back, because that's just a circus waiting to happen. I don't care what skills he does or doesn't have. That just won't jive in Pittsburgh. I mean, if they're going to get a quarterback, maybe you try to develop a guy like a Jaden Milroe or somebody like that, or Jackson Dart, whatever it is right now. But, I mean, the Steelers have nobody to blame but themselves, and Omar Khan, to me, has done a horrendous job as general manager since he's taken over.
Well, you know what's interesting about the Steelers is that their key guys are getting older. Cam Hayward already is past that point. Minka Fitzpatrick's getting older. T.J. Watt's getting older. And their window is closing here. And at the quarterback spot, you did bring in Metcalf, big move. You then gave Pat Freiermuth a second contract, and Jack and I talked with Pat 2 weeks ago about this. And when you have, and they drafted on the offensive line last year, they do have to sit there and have some level of competency at quarterback, because now you're wasting Freiermuth, you're wasting Metcalf, and who knows what they want to do with Pickens. No idea. But to me, there's some talent there that they have to work with. You know, Fantano's going to be back this season after only playing one game last year. Zach Frazier's back. But the problem is their key guys on defense, they're getting older.
Exactly. That's the other thing, too. I mean, and the Steelers, I think, have a chance to maybe get younger here with this great draft class you've got up front with defensive tackles and edges and linebackers and you name it.
But they don't have a second-round pick. See, the Steelers don't have a second-round pick. So that's what, again, makes their situation more precarious.
Yeah. Yeah, no question. Like I said, the Steelers have nobody to blame but themselves, and this is about as bad a job as I've seen a front office have for the Steelers, from a front office perspective, that I've seen the Steelers have in a long time. I mean, mostly it's 90% around the quarterback spot, but just overall where the team is right now, I mean, if I'm a Steeler fan, and maybe I'm missing a couple things here and there because I root for the team on the other side of the state, but I'd be furious at where things are right now.
The suit has just texted me. He's opting for open tryouts at camp in July at quarterback. But the suit needs to understand, you can have Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah. That's who I want to go see at St. Vincent College this summer.
Shedeur Sanders. Come on, that's your suit. That's your guy.
And then watch Coach Prime shining his gold and memorabilia with his Colorado stuff on the sidelines, signing autographs. Yeah, that would be a sight to behold at St. Vincent's this summer in Latrobe.
That sells tickets. Won't be there when they draft. I don't know. I think Jackson Dart might go before Shedeur Sanders. And you know where I think Jackson Dart might go? I think he might go to New Orleans.
I wouldn't be surprised with that as well. I think that's another wild card, too, when it comes to the quarterbacks, is what the heck is New Orleans going to do? Well, especially since they don't know about Derek Carr right now.
That's what I mean. And you have a new coach that is a quarterback coach, that is an offensive coordinator coach. And to me, they need to get a quarterback that fits him. And again, Dart is not a thrower, he's a quarterback. See, that's a big difference. Milroe is a thrower, he's not a quarterback. All right. That was interesting. I know in Howie you trust.
Always.
That's
It'll be fun tonight.
That's not what you said before.
If you're turning 65
Well,
or
now
retiring
we're
soon,
at
it's
that
time
point.
to
Bringing you an in-depth look at Penn State sports and more. This is the Steve Jones Show on News Radio 1070 WKOK. The Steve Jones Show is presented by Brewers Outlet, Sunbury Motor Company, and Purdy Insurance. Now from the Sunbury Motors Studio, here's Steve Jones.
All right, this half hour being brought to you by Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15, almost warp online, sunburymotors.com. Ford Kia Hyundai, best in new inventory, great pre-owned inventory with the Sunbury Motors guarantee. Terrific service department that backs it up every step of the way. Quick lane, inspections, routine, difficult. They handle it all at Sunbury Motors, 4th Street in Sunbury. Sunbury Motors Kia, routes 11 and 15 in Hummel's Wharf, and online at sunburymotors.com. Before we get back to the draft, let's get to the story that we've been talking about, I know, ad nauseum for a couple of years now, because it reshapes all of intercollegiate athletics, and that is the House settlement. And Todd, when you and I talked about this last week, what did we say? I said the judge cannot physically change the agreement between the two, but she can delay the agreement because she strongly believes something should be in it. And that would be, in her case, the grandfathering of walk-ons. And what did she do yesterday? Exactly what we said she might do. We said that she might tell them, no, not yet. And it looks like she has checked every box on this. That every box has been checked, except for this. She said the insistence of the NCAA, which is just, to me, bizarre. I don't understand. The NCAA, and I realize, okay, so what's their primary job? Their primary job is that they do work for the member institutions and the conferences. So I just want to be fair about like who they report to. But when you're doing something like this that involves athletes, you have to take a great responsibility to your member institutions and to the athletes that make the member institutions relevant. And for some reason, they almost always leave the athlete out. And that's in this case. This, to me, what she suggested is easy. What she suggested is easy. It's not difficult. I know what the issue is. The issue is you have a series of schools in the South, and I'll tell you one in the Big Ten, Iowa, they've already cut to 105. And now it's like, well, wait a minute, wait a minute, we should have kept these players? That was your decision. Penn State, for example, made the decision to say, look, we're going to carry this as long as we can, and then when we're told to do it, then we'll make the move. And it's not as if James Franklin has not had talks with guys about if we have to go to 105, quote, immediately, this is how it's probably going to play out. So the players know, for the most part, where they stand, or they're close to where they stand, with the idea that Like a blue-white game would be an important game for them. I mean, things like that to kind of determine who has a shot at being on the 105 and where do I stand on maybe special teams, something. Okay? But James has decided, like some others, to play it out. And when you tell me I have to be at 105, then we'll get to 105. We've had discussions, and these discussions go back months. They are not like this week. They've had discussions. But the idea has been, let's keep them on as long as they can until we're told we have to do this. Others just plain did it. Well, the others that just plain did it, they're mad. Oh, well, this is going to be an advantage. Hey, maybe you should have shown a little more patience. And by the way, in the SEC, they're going to go with 105, but they're all going to have 20 walk-ons anyway because they're only going to go with 85 scholarships. Why? Because they want to give more money to the 85 players. They don't want to spread it out over 105, which is their prerogative. That's fine. That's fine. Go ahead.
I was going to say most of the college football reporters are in Dallas for the CFP meeting this week.
Yes.
And they were in the meeting when this came down yesterday, the administrators and such. And when they came out, it kind of seems like they were shocked that she did this, that they were fully expecting her, to even though, I mean, you figured out pretty quickly that she was pretty serious about it with the way she talked on that Monday, and they just seemed to feel like they didn't take her seriously, and they came out and it took them 2 hours to come out with a comment, and it just basically said, we have to go back with our lawyers. I think they thought that she was going to rubber stamp this because they said they didn't want to do it.
But go back with your lawyers over what? I don't understand what the issue is here. So let's get to brass tacks. We all know that there's $20.5 million as the top out number that you'll see in the majority of Power 4 schools. Right, Todd? So let's just start with the $20.5 million. That's already established. We know that's going to happen. Okay? That's part of this. Then there's going to be additional scholarships. Okay. For example, we talked about the SEC. You can go to 105 roster limit, but they're going to keep it at 85 scholarships. But there are going to be other scholarships in other sports across the board. And James Franklin and I were talking about this together before the Penn State Quarterback Club on Tuesday. And James was talking about the $20.5 million because he was asked a question about not doing the women's clinic this year. And they say there's certain things that Penn State has had to cut because of this. And then I threw in the addendum of the additional scholarships in other sports. Wrestling can go to 30. I think Cale's going to go maybe 20, somewhere in that neighborhood. But they can go to 30. Baseball can go to 34. Men's basketball from 13 to 15, things like that. All right. Men's lacrosse can go up to 47 now. And I said, look, each coach will have a number in mind about scholarships they want to go to. I said, and that can increase your budget by an additional $5 to $8 million. I said, so you're looking at potentially, let's just say conservatively, $27 to $29 million that you're going to have to spend. So now let's take that money and let's apply it, Todd, to the walk-on. Well, what does the walk-on cost you? The walk-on is already paying their tuition, the room, okay? Books. Okay, so you're not paying for that. All right, that's one. Next up. Now, it's your option as to whether you put them on scholarship. It's up to you. You may want to. Right? What's the next part with the what? So I'm talking about any walk-on that's past 105. How about that, Todd? So now let's just say there's 120 players. Now 15 are in the, walk-on category. Let's just do base numbers. What does the walk-on cost you? Well, you don't have to pay for the tuition. You don't have to pay for the room. You don't have to pay for the books. You give them a locker. You give them a uniform. So far, so good. training table. Training table's a buffet. So you're not really, there's not a lot of extra expense there. It's a buffet. Not like each one gets served to like 120 individual meals. It's a buffet. Okay. Training, weight room? No. Not like Chuck Losey and Alvin and those guys get paid extra per player. Well, we have 105 players, but we're going to give you extra money per player. Nope. Let's see. So food's done. What if they make the travel roster 74? Well, if they make the travel roster 74, no big deal, because guess what? You're going to get on a charter, and the charter does it by the mile, but you had to take 74 players anyway. It just turns out the walk-on's one of them. So that didn't cost you anything, because that spot was going to be filled by somebody. And then, well, what about the hotel? Well, no, it was going to be a 74th player there anyway, and they all pair up anyway. So, no, that room was already bought and paid for. You need 37 rooms, regardless of whether the walk-on's there or not. You're not getting a 38th room because you're only allowed to take 74 players in the Big Ten. So you need 37 rooms. So then, nope, that expense, that doesn't change plus or minus. Training table on the road, nope, that expense doesn't change plus or minus. Where's the issue here? I don't understand what the issue is. Like, why are these guys so like, oh my God, what do you care, right? The idea is I have 120. I need to get to 105. Well, after this upcoming season, you're probably going to lose 7 walk-ons that are seniors. Right, you're down to 113. Then the next year in the class, you may lose 5 more. You're down to 108. Then all of a sudden, boom, you're under the number in 3 years. What the heck is the issue here? Am I missing something, Todd? I mean, that's the thing. I may be missing something. Am I missing something here?
I'm racking my brain currently, and I can't come up with anything, because the first thing I thought of is maybe at most was an extra meal at the training table.
But that's a buffet.
Yeah, wow.
Okay, I mean, in other words, like, the food is going to be, tossed. I mean, I've talked to people, both in football and basketball, and they said, about this issue. And I said, the walk-on, how much do walk-ons really cost you? And everybody came back to the same thing. They said virtually nothing. Like, basketball is Joe Sedora. Now, Joe's eventually, he's going to transfer to Westchester next year. But Joe's still out there. And I said to Pat Dorney, I said, how much does Joe cost? He says, it didn't cost us anything. He says, training tables, it's a buffet, same as everybody. What's the difference? He says, travel on the road. He said, we don't have to get an extra room. We had 14 players. He said, that means 7 rooms. We had 7 rooms regardless. Right? So I've taken the time to talk to people. That's why I came up with the scenario I've been talking about, because again, what have I always said? Management by walking around. Well, if you have the opportunity to get some information on the side, you can do that. And that's what that's what I've been trying to do. Is it like, am I missing something?
I don't think they've really even given a reason, just that they're against it.
Right. I mean, that's the part that I struggle with. What are you against? If you were saying to me, like, let's go to the SEC. Some SECs have already cut down to 105, but their conference rule is going to be 85 scholarship players and 20 walk-ons. So they're going to carry 20 walk-ons anyway, because they want to give the $20.5 million, and let's just pick a number, 15, 16 million. Let's just say it's 16 million. 16 million is going to go to football. They want to divide that up among the 85 and not the other 20. That's their prerogative, because they can give the 85 more than you can give 105. Okay. That's their prerogative. I have no problem with that.
It's like trying to figure out why they're against moving the early signing period back in football.
I can't for the life of me figure out what the heck they're doing. I just can't. I mean, this makes the fact that they find this to be disconcerting, I find to be stunning. What's disconcerting about this? What is so shocking about it? That's the part that I don't get. Any disruption that may occur is a problem of defendants and NCAA member schools' own making, Wilkin wrote. True. More than 4,600 Division I athletes have entered their names into the NCAA transfer portal in the month of April, in part because schools have been preparing for the expected roster limits. So, okay, fine. So what? Yeah, and? The judge issued an order as many conference commissioners were attending the College Football Playoff annual spring meeting at the Ritz-Carlton near Dallas. So we're at the Ritz-Carlton, which is not the no-tell motel. Okay. We're at the Ritz-Carlton. And we're worried about how much a walk-on's going to cost you? Several commissioners left the closed-door meeting during a break with cell phones pressed to their ears, and one commissioner saying he needed to contact his general counsel. What? I don't, what's the problem here? I don't understand the problem. This should have been something you were fighting for. Okay? That's what I find what's bothersome here. They should be fighting for this because, okay, they're already there. You want to put them in the streets for what particular reason? They don't. Okay? It's pennies on the dollar to have walk-ons. Okay? You're not, okay, 105 will be the limit, roster limit, right? Well, that's the scholarship limit, essentially.
They're spending $100,000 on lawyers to save $10. Exactly. Right? Meanwhile, Steve Berman, co-lead attorney for the plaintiffs, told ESPN Wednesday that he believes the NCAA will change its mind on roster limits because that is the only remaining obstacle. Exactly. There is this one last issue. Given the leverage we have now, that the NCAA and defendants understand if we don't fix this, then we're off to trial, which, of course, would mean triple the loss, right? Okay? We're talking about all these numbers we're throwing out would be troubled. It's an antitrust case. I'm confident they'll see the light. Berman said he and his co-counsel, Jeffrey Kessler, would be fine with Wilkins' suggestion to gradually introduce roster limits. That's fine. Right? Meanwhile, Gannon Flynn, freshman swimmer at Utah, said he's glad to see the judge took concerns of the athletes seriously. Flynn said, I think it's a great compromise to allow the athletes that are currently in sports to finish their eligibility without being hurt by the settlement. Now, isn't that one of the primary jobs of the institutions? And I know the NCAA works for the institutions, but what are we doing here? I'm just confused by this whole thing. I mean, to act like people who just want to go to school and be a part of the program because they always dreamed of being there, and they're willing to pay their own way, like Tyler Holsworth from Milford, New Jersey. His parents are paying out-of-state rates. Come on. And if you haven't looked at the price of in-state college lately, that is a pretty penny.
No, exactly. I mean, golly, I don't understand what the consternation is about. I mean, they act like somebody's trying to steal money from them. These are the most cost-effective people you have in athletics. man.
I can't come up with a reason why they're against it. It's just it's as baffling to me as it is to you.
I mean, we'll talk about the draft in the next half hour, but I don't understand any of this. I mean, I'll because we're all on the east side on Saturday. At some point, so for one of the few times I'll be on the same side that Pat's on, because Pat's always talked about, hey, I want to come over to the west side with you guys sometimes, and which is great, but he gets awfully busy on a game day. But this is going to be something where I think I'm going to take some time, seek Pat out and talk to him about this. Because I don't get, because again, James has done nothing with this. Right? And the only reason Joe Sador is leaving Penn State basketball is that, he wants to play. So at Westchester, he can play. Okay. I mean, that's fine, right? I mean, it makes sense to me. Because Mike wasn't, if he wanted to stay with Penn State, Mike definitely was going to keep him.
I kind of think the way James handling it, you probably know how, you can probably see how Pat kind of feels about it just by the way they're handling it. But
exactly.
I'm sure. I wonder if he would even. I mean, I'm sure he has a little more insight than we would have just because he's more involved in it. But it sounds so strange for them to be so against this that I can't imagine that it's a reasonable reason, or what will sound like a reasonable reason.
I mean, I don't understand why the NCAA and conference commissioners are twisted in a pretzel over this. Because you know how I feel about common sense. Okay? And there's very little common sense to what the NCAA is arguing here. And there's very little common sense to me. Like, I would think that there'd be at least some conference commissioners saying, hey, good. All right, that's great. Good for those kids. I mean, because in the end, isn't this about the athletes? And you're not talking about people that financially drain you. And not only that, but you know what? Not every walk-on's perfect, okay? They aren't. I mean, let's be straight about that. But the vast majority of walk-ons, you'll find are outstanding students. The vast majority are important to the culture of your program because they love the school, they love the program. It's been a dream of theirs to be a part of the program. All right? There's something to be said for that. That's why I see this, and I don't understand what the concert. When the NCAA came back with no, we want to stick with the 105. That baffled me. I thought there was an easy fix, and they made it seem like it was like they were bringing the patient in for radical surgery. Like, what is it? I didn't get it. Still don't. Still don't get it. Like you said, they all came out like, oh, I can't believe this. Can't believe what? Okay? What the heck? What? Because she cares? And to be honest with you, it really makes it seem like between the NCAA and certain conference commissioners, don't care. All right, so let's get to the good news of the day. Dick just texted me, and Smarty Jones has been elected to the Horse Racing Hall of Fame. About time. won the Kentucky Derby, won the Preakness, and lost by a nose of the Triple Crown in the Belmont. Pennsylvania bred. Yeah.
I'm almost scared to ask how long ago it was.
2004.
I was too scared. I was scared to ask how long ago it was.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing on that. Let me just quickly. I think it was. Won 2004. I got it right.